Okay, says rolling.
I'd like to call the Wednesday, January 7th, 2026 Parks and Recreation Commission meeting to order. Please call the roll.
Here, Bruce, here, Emmett,
Here.
Cammy,
Here.
one absent, Bob here.
All right, we'll open the floor to general public comments. I see no one here for that. Moving on to number 3, approval of the minutes. Has anyone had a chance to review the minutes as presented? If there's no discussion to be had, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes from November 5th, 2025.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 5th, 2025 as presented. I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, approval of revenues and expenditures. Has anyone had a chance to review these?
I did have a question.
What's that?
I did have a question.
Okay.
Since the actual spending is less than what was budgeted, does that surplus stay, or what happens to the surplus?
Jesse, do you know the answer to that?
So we'll have to look at the total city budget and make sure everything is trued up, and then what is left. If it was general fund to start with, I'll go back to general fund. If it were like donations, which I don't, I'm sorry, I haven't looked at this real specifically. If it was like a donation for a specific thing or whatever, then of course it would stay within there.
Does anyone else have any questions or discussion? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the revenues and expenditures.
I'll make a motion to approve the revenues and expenditures as listed. Present.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Expenditure and revenues report approved. Number 5, special events on streets, highways, and municipal parking lots, permit procedure. Jesse?
So there's been a lot of questions about what the process is to have anything approved that traditionally may have come here or come to the council or come to other committees. And so that has been a question that's been brought to staff a few times. And I tried to look into what the history was and all that. And basically went back to the ordinances. And the ordinances are, for the most part, a lot of things can be approved by staff, although some first-time things go to council or the committee that they've appointed for those things. I think that the idea behind that is to make it easier for the public facilities to be used, for people to provide events and things to the community, that type of thing. Of course, there still needs to be checks and balances there. But as the ordinance is written, the things that actually have to come before this committee basically are limited to events where there's going to be animals present. So things that I can think of that you guys have approved in the past would be like the reindeer for the tree lighting celebration, if they were to do that again. The donkey baseball thing that we had not too long ago, a petting zoo, those types of events would require this commission to approve. And because what the ordinance actually says is that if somebody requests to utilize a park facility, staff is supposed to respond to that within 10 days of their application and say, okay, you're good, or no, if there's an actual reason to deny it, like the park's already rented for that day or whatever. And then you guys would be the appeal committee for that. So if the staff said, no, you can't have the park, and they're like, well, that's not cool, I want this sent up the chain, then it would come to you guys as the appeal board on that. So what we thought as staff, it would be to go to what the ordinance actually says. And if you don't think that that's an appropriate process, then it's an ordinance amendment. So you want to talk to your representatives, your council members about potentially changing the ordinance. But we do think that it's really important that you guys are aware of what the park is being utilized for. So what we anticipate doing is providing you a running of list of what has been approved within the park system for the year and updating that for you every month. And then, of course, if something requires your review, it would come to you just like it has in the past. So, you received the packet that was put together for the council, when they asked, because there are some other, permits that they asked about as well, like the street, if you're doing a parade, street permits and, those types of things. And then it also has the actual ordinances themselves, and I tried to highlight the areas. You're welcome to read the whole thing, but I tried to highlight the areas that were most pertinent to what I thought we would probably be talking about. So, are there any questions, concerns, something that just doesn't make sense? But we wanted to make sure that you were aware where we're at. We're just trying to get back to what the ordinance actually says, and of course, ordinances can be changed, but that's a process through the council.
It sounds like this is gonna be a much simpler process anyway, like it's gonna be more streamlined way to handle it. Makes sense.
Yes, and if things don't work as we think they're shown here, we can bring that back to you guys for your suggestions and then to council if you or staff feels that it needs to be looked at further and potentially tweaked. That can be done at any time if you don't feel it's working the way it should.
So for example, just to make sure we're all on the same page, so like for the turkey gobbler on Thanksgiving, they're gonna fill out the appropriate paperwork. It's gonna go to the staff. You guys are gonna make the call in 10 days and let them either have it or not have it, authorize it. And only if you find a reason not to let them have it would it come to us.
Right, if they
appeal.
appeal. If they,
If they
wait a minute,
If
Yes. but you would get it as soon as we knew about it, we'd add it to the list in that next month with your packet. You'd see on there that the gobbler's been approved for Thanksgiving 2026.
Makes sense.
That sounds great. Does anyone else have any other questions? And will this start in February then, or whenever our next meeting?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we've received any applications yet this year, but anytime now, people will start, because, if you have a summer event and things, people will start.
We need to say moving forward from today.
Yep,
So just in review, you're not proposing, or the council isn't proposing any changes right now to the ordinance. We're just clarifying what's already in the ordinance and sticking to that a little bit better.
exactly. Yep,
It makes a lot of sense to me that we're essentially empowering the executive to execute the ordinances as written and where the appeal level. I like that you mentioned, though, that I think it's good for us to be aware of how they're being used and any feedback you have for us in case we need to recommend something.
yeah, absolutely. And if there's information that you feel is missing, or whatever, by all means, we certainly want you to have what you need to provide the best decisions and recommendations to the council that you can. So please utilize staff if you need to.
If somebody does come in with like a petting zoo or the reindeer thing, is that still the 10-day thing then, or that's gonna come to us and is that the 40?
That's gonna have to come to you guys. Yeah, that won't be within the 10 days necessarily, depending on when the meeting is.
Okay.
Yeah, it says right in the ordinance that if it's an animal one,
Do you know why that's in there?
I have no idea. I don't know if something happened with animals in the past, or they thought it might happen. I don't know. I don't know what.
Could we require them to bring the animals in here for the next meeting to demonstrate?
See all the vaccination reports of each animal.
Careful what you ask for.
I just hung out with kangaroos in Kentucky,
Yeah,
so I'm not opposed.
But I wouldn't be opposed to like reviewing, like, if there's nothing in the state laws or other reasons, like, that could be something, because it just seems kind of unnecessary, that one exception around the animals, unless the council feels strongly about that.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. I can mention
I wouldn't
it.
mind them looking at that, like, why that's the one area.
Why
Just answer the question
Yeah,
first.
just answer the question,
Yeah.
like, if there's a reason for it, then fine.
Just a second look for liability maybe or something like that.
Yeah.
This could definitely be. I don't know. But I thought that was interesting too. Like, I don't know the history. When that ordinance was put into play, maybe they had just had an incident. I don't know.
Very well. Anyone else have any questions or discussion? All right, it doesn't sound like we need anything to do or recommend anything or whatnot. So we'll move on to number 6, to new business. Does anyone have new business? Any old business? I will then entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. I got that.
10 minutes,
Friday.
15 seconds.
Got it. Thank you.